Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
What?
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale.
Nope. He's in the bathroom.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we are entering into the, thank you devotees for joining. We are entering into Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, session number 3. So in the last 2 sessions, we looked into what is the overview of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and what is Bhakti, what is Rasa, what is Amrita, and what is Sindhu, the name about it. And as we discussed that in our session, we will have first 10 minutes dedicated for Gopala Champu, and another 5:40 to 6:10 around, we will have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu session. After that, QA will have. Please feel free to drop off if you have something to do, or stay back, whatever it is your preference. But at least stay through Gopala Champu and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu session. So in the Gopala Champu, that we saw that the Vrajavasis were separated from Krishna. That is where the story is beginning. That Krishna, when he grows 11 years old, Akrura comes and takes him from Vraja to Mathura. And then Krishna lives in Mathura and Dwaraka. After that, he doesn't return to Vraja for almost like 30 plus years. Then, after killing up all the demons in Mathura and Dwaraka and satisfying all the relatives, he comes and kills the final demon, who is Dantavakra, at the entrance of Mathura. So he fights with him, he destroys him, and after destroying him, he enters into Vrindavan. So at that point, Krishna expands himself into 2. One Krishna goes to Vrindavan, and another Krishna goes to Dwaraka back and continues their individual lives. So when Krishna at that point crosses Yamuna, and then he comes back to Vrajavasis, the Vrajavasis were waiting for this moment. Krishna, throughout this period, he promised repeatedly, multiple times, directly, indirectly, that he will return. Even in the beginning, when he goes to Mathura, Krishna says, I'm going to return. Now, this situation is very painful. If you think about it, suppose you have lost your relative somewhere in the crowd and you never get to meet him. But then you know that that person is living somewhere. So what will happen every day when you are looking around? Whenever you see somebody, you will think that, oh, maybe this person is my relative. This person is my relative, especially if you lost your kid or if you lost your father, brother. Whomever you are looking at, it will look like that person, because you are looking every day forward for that person. You have a hope that person is going to return. So similarly, the Vrajavasis were having the hope that Krishna will return. And that is even more painful than if Krishna has explicitly said that I'm never going to return. At least they will know that he is not going to return. But here, he is going to return. But when? Every day they will be just looking at the path. Today, Krishna will return. Today, Krishna will return. So in this way, 30 plus years have passed. They were waiting for that moment. So this is the beginning of Gopala Champu, that Krishna is returning to Vrindavan after killing Dantavakra. And then as soon as he was received by the Vrajavasis, especially Nanda Maharaj, immediately they will start their celebration, because they are waiting for this moment for a very long time. So Krishna returned toward the end of a night. So when he returned, Nanda Maharaj immediately called for 2 kettle drummers. Kettle drum, they just play the kettle drum. So then they stood at the gate of Nanda Maharaj. Then they started playing the kettle drum. So when they started playing the kettle drum, The music, the loud, resounding noise was going across Vraja. Everybody was sleeping at that time. As soon as they heard this sound, they immediately understood that only one thing has happened, that Krishna has returned. Why? Because there was no celebration when Krishna left Vrindavan. Now he has come back. So this celebration is for Krishna. So everybody arose from their bed. Uh, This sound of the kettle drum was like bliss pouring into their ears. And then they were rising by that bliss from their beds with the extreme thirst for Krishna. They want to look at Krishna. They want to serve Krishna. They want to be with Krishna. So then all of them were running toward Nanda Maharaj's house. And Nanda Maharaj called for Sutas, Magadas, and Mandis. These are the bards. Bards, the job of the bard is to glorify. The Sutas and Magadas, you would see even in, some years back, I don't know if it is still there or not. These people in villages, they will come and tell about your lineage, how your lineage, who is your forefather, who is your father's father, and then his father, and like that, they will trace. So they will track the record of each and individual family, and they'll maintain this note. They will do, in hereditary, that is, that father will do, then his son will do, his son will do, like that. They'll maintain the survey of the entire village. They'll maintain this lineage for different people. So if I am living in that village, if I want to know my lineage, I'll just go to this Suta or Magada, and then I'll learn about it. So the Sutas and Magadas are invited to recite the lineages. We see that Suta Goswami in Bhagavatam also, he does that. He recites this lineage, part of his Bhagavatam description. And then Vandis are the people who actually glorify. When a king is ruling a country, he would sometimes, or many times, he would get disappointed because people under him will not be working properly, or the enemy will be planning to attack him, or some inauspicious things has happened in the kingdom. So in this way, he will always be disappointed. He needs some cheering person, cheerleader or whatever it is, who can cheer him up. So this Vandi is the person who actually cheers the king by telling him glorious about himself, that, O king, you are like that, such and such. You are so glorious. And they will also announce the schedule. King has to now go and take lunch in a way that is glorifying the king. So in this way, continuously, they will be encouraging the king. Nanda Maharaj is also king of Vraja. So he invited this Vandis. So these three bards, they were invited by Nanda Maharaj. And then they climbed the rooftop of Simhadwar in front of Nanda Maharaj home. Nanda Maharaj home, in front, there was a big Simhadwar, magnificent lion gate. And then on that rooftop, they went. And then the rooftop, there was a pavilion or a room. So they climbed up there. And then they started reciting beautiful verses. They composed the verses on the spot, and then they will just sing. What verses they were singing? They were singing all the pastimes of Krishna, starting from how Krishna killed Putana, first demon, from all the way up to the last demon, just he killed is Dantavakra, just before entering Vrindavan. They were singing in beautiful meters, composed on the fly. And all the people who have assembled around Nanda Maharaj's home, they were just looking at Krishna. And then as they were hearing these beautiful pastimes, they were overwhelmed with a lot of bliss. They were very, 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 very satisfied. And these verses were composed, not just they were simply reciting, they were putting into music new ragas, which they have never heard before. They were singing this entire pastimes of Krishna. And all of them were overwhelmed with bliss. So at that time, in Vraja, all the couples were becoming joyful. Something joyful that happens in your life, the first thing you should do, according to Shastra, is you should give some charity. If you have some son is born, or some auspicious things have happened in your life, then you give charity to others. You share the joy with everyone. So here, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they were very happy because Krishna has returned. Their life has come back. So they were just giving out a lot of charity, dresses, new ornaments, uh, cloths, and other things, unguents, all these things to the bards who were singing. And they were giving completely, there was no end to that charity. Whatever they were available in their home, they were just taking everything and then they just giving it out. In this way, they are not able to stop their giving of charity to others. And the people who were listening, they couldn't stop themselves from listening to the pastimes of Krishna. And they were continuing to listen. In this way, the whole Vraja was immersed into an ocean of prema and bliss. And that ocean was swelling with waves of the songs about Krishna. And in that ocean, a moon rises. Generally the moon rises from the ocean. So the moon that rises from this ocean is the fame of Krishna, the glory of Krishna is rising out of this ocean. So this is how Jiva Goswami is capturing that entire moment in a poetic way. Now at this point, the gopis who were part of that group of Vrajavasis who were preparing next things for Krishna, they were churning the yogurt. As they were churning the yogurt, taking out the butter, they started singing the pastimes of Krishna. When they started singing, everyone became silent. All the bards and all other people kept quiet. Just like when Krishna goes to the forest and then he starts playing his flute, the entire forest becomes silent. Before that, the birds used to chirp and the cuckoos used to caw. But as soon as Krishna takes his flute and then starts playing it, the entire forest becomes silent. They want to listen to Krishna's flute. It's so blissful to hear than their own chirpings. Similarly, when the gopis started singing, here the whole arena became very quiet. They want to listen because the gopis, they have very high realization for Krishna, high love, high intensified love for Krishna. So they want to hear from gopis the songs. As they were churning, they were singing about all the pastimes of Krishna, and they were wearing ornaments, bangles, and different ornaments. As they were churning, they were all jingling, producing nice music accompanying swaras and talas. It's acting like musical um, rendition for their songs. So in this way, everybody is celebrating. Everybody is celebrating. At this point, Jiva Goswami is saying something which we are going to spend some time today investigating about that. We may not be able to enter into Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu today, but we'll see. So what Jiva Goswami says here is that this is an important topic. That's why we'll take a little bit of digression here. Jiva Goswami says that when Krishna was united with the Vrajavasis at this point, the illusion that the gopis had husbands other than Krishna was removed at this point. So, before we digest that, before we dissect that, we'll try to understand a little bit. We'll take a step backward and then a little bit try to understand this. So, God is Atma Rama. He is satisfied within himself. He is not like us. We are not satisfied with ourselves. That is very clearly visible. We cannot sit quiet in a room. We want to do something. We cannot simply sit quiet from morning to evening, days after days. We cannot sit like that because we are not blissful within. When we are not blissful within, we are searching for something else outside to do. So there was one of my colleagues in my company. He was working in a project where I was leading the project, and he was around 68 years old. So he was not, I was surprised that he told me his age, he was 68 years old, and then he was not retiring. And I was asking him why he did not retire. I asked him whether, you don't have enough money to survive and that's why you're working. He said, no, he is working in software industry from the beginning of his career. So he has enough saved and he has a home on the beach in the East Coast as well. He has enough money to enjoy his life. And I was surprised why you did not retire. Then he said that if I retire, I do not know what to do. So I'm very fearful of that situation. Therefore, I just continue to work. I don't want to face that new situation. So a lot of free time suddenly comes in your life. You do not know what to do. Because we are not satisfied within, we cannot sit quiet. Very difficult. That was reflected in his life as well. He did not know. Right now, many of us may be in our youth, and we may be busy with our job, or kids. Who are having kids, they extremely are very busy and they don't have any time. We are spending all our time. But once the kids are grown up, and then we also reach to a point that where we are retiring, then we'll get a lot of free time, and people will not be looking forward for us as well. Some people try to find respects within the uh, spiritual community also, but there are youngsters as well. They may also replace. So very difficult to find ourselves to be engaged. We are always looking forward for that externally. I want something for satisfaction. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna is bliss personified. He is full of bliss. Sometimes we feel happiness in our life. That is just a very, 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 very minute glimpse of happiness that is coming from Krishna. The source is Krishna, because Krishna is Anandamaya. He is full of bliss. He is the source of bliss. So when he sits quiet, he can sit for not just days or hours. He can sit for yugas. He can sit for creation after creation. So as Mahavishnu, he is lying down in the Karana ocean, doing nothing, just sleeping. He's continuing to do that, creation after creation after creation after creation cycle. He can do that because he is Atma Rama. He was bliss. He was feeling blissful inside. So why he has to do all these things? He doesn't need to come to this world to save the devotees, to kill the demons. He doesn't need to do all these things. So why he has to do this? Why he has to leave the Vrajavasis, and so many things he has to do? This is what is called Leela. So Leela is something like a rich person who has a lot of money invested everywhere, and there are people under him who are working to take care, and he does not have any goal to achieve more money. Then he has a lot of free time. And what does he do? He goes and plays golf, or he collects his friends and then he chats, and then he spends his time. Does he need to play golf? No, he doesn't need to play golf. He is playing golf for pleasure. That's all. He's not playing golf for getting money or getting something out of it. His time pass. So Leela is something like that. Krishna doesn't need to do all these things, but he does this. It is also a little bit different from that rich person going and playing golf. Why? Because when the rich person is going and playing golf, he is taking some pleasure out of it. He's seeking for pleasure there also. But Krishna is not seeking for pleasure in his leelas, pastimes. Rather, it is an expression of his bliss. For example, a prince who is provided with all opulence by the king, and then his body is very healthy and he has a lot of friends to play around with and is very cheerful and everything is going on nice in his life. And then he is waking up from his bed one day, and as soon as he wakes up in the morning, he looks at around and then he sees that uh, it was a very beautiful morning. He was feeling so blissful and energetic. Then, as soon as he wakes up, he jumps and dances in his bed. Such an opulent bed. He jumps around and then dances. Then the servants enter that room and then ask, "Why are you dancing around? What happened?" Then he says, "I'm just blissful, so I'm just dancing around." We cannot question the prince that what are you gaining out of that dance? He is not dancing to gain something. He is not dancing to gain happiness. He is already happy and he is expressing his happiness through dance. He's happy within, and that happiness comes out as a dance. Similarly, Krishna is full of happiness, condensed happiness within him, bliss. That bliss comes out expressed via these leelas. So whatever happens in the Krishna's leela, it is all blissful. Though we were discussing that the Vrajavasis were feeling very miserable, painful, and looking forward for Krishna, a lot of worry. All these things are expressions of bliss. In this world, when we are going through worry and suffering, all these are expressions of misery. But in the spiritual world, anything, even Yashoda fearing for Krishna when Putana comes, that is also an expression of bliss, her own love. So it is completely different. That understanding, we should have it. So now Krishna is performing this Leela as an expression of bliss. What is required for a Leela? A Leela is like a movie or a play. It needs characters. Some characters have to be present. In a movie, you would see characters are present. A situation is created. An identity is created. Krishna in Vraja, he is a son of a cowherd. He is coming in a Vaishya family. His father is Nanda Maharaj. His mother is Yashoda. And he has a lot of cowherd friends. And he has all the gopis as his lovers. And then he has some servants also. And then from morning, he goes for herding the cows along with his friends. He plays in the forest. And then he comes back and then he meets with the gopis and he meets with his family members. He takes Bogart his home. So in this way, there is a schedule is also done. There is a situation, there is a context that is created. Within this context, all the people are put into it. Krishna as well as the devotees. What is the point here? The point is that the devotees and the Krishna, they exchange their love. Different scenes, different situations are created for them to exchange their love. When Putana comes and then takes away Krishna from Yashoda and then she runs with a gigantic form, Yashoda's love for Krishna comes out as fear for Krishna. Oh, my son is being carried away. She is very much worried. That is an expression of love. So the whole situation is created for to have that exchange of love between Yashoda and Krishna in that situation. Similarly, every situation is created for the exchange of love between his devotees and Krishna. And these are all expressions of bliss. The whole pastime is orchestrated by one of the Shaktis of Krishna, which is Leela Shakti. And there is another Shakti is also there, Yoga Maya. Together, they enact this whole creation of Leela. Krishna himself willingly, voluntarily identifies himself as this Gopa. He is a Gopa, cowherd in that. And then he forgets voluntarily again that he is God here in Vrindavan. And then he absorbs himself in as a cowherd and then he plays around. All he knows is that entire Vrajavasis, they love me. And the entire Vrajavasis are also not aware that Krishna is God. They are just simply loving him. Because their awareness and Krishna's awareness are all covered by Krishna's own Shakti, Yoga Maya, covers their awareness for the pastimes, for the loving exchanges to take place. Periodically, Krishna will come to the awareness that he is God whenever it is required for him. And then again, he will go back to the same state, that he will be merged into that identity. So this is what is the Leela is being performed. Now, in this Leela, different devotees are there in different relationship with Krishna. Some are in Dasi Rasa. They are servants of Krishna. They will go and give oil massage to Krishna. They will dress up Krishna. They will carry lunch for Krishna, like that. Some are in friendship with Krishna. All the Gopas, cowherds here, you are seeing the picture here, they are all in friendship with Krishna. They play with Krishna, they do different things with Krishna. Some are in Vatsalya, parental mode. Yashoda and Nanda are the real parents of Krishna. There are others, nurses are there, dhatris. They are also having Vatsalya bhava toward Krishna. Then we have gopis, who are all identifying as lovers of Krishna. The intensity of love in these rasas are different. The dasya rasa is very intense in love. And furthermore, the love is intensified in sakya rasa. And then the love is further intensified in vatsalya rasa. And the love is even further intensified in madhurya rasa or conjugal rasa or love between Krishna and the gopis. That's where the highest intensified love is there. The more the intensity of the love, the more bliss both Krishna and the devotees feel. Now, Krishna wants to intensify the love in this love of gopis and Krishna, which is called Madhurya Rasa or conjugal. He wants to intensify it even further. So there is a verse that is quoted in Ujjvala Nilamani. This is Ujjvala Nilamani is a work which exclusively focuses on Madhurya Rasa, which was written by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we are currently studying, he talks about all 5 different rasas. But on Madhurya Rasa, he only writes something very briefly. He doesn't talk much in detail. He touches upon it and then he moves forward. Why? Because he writes an exclusively dedicated work called Ujjvala Nilamani, which is so huge for dealing with Madhurya Rasa. So in that Ujjvala Nilamani, this verse, which is quoted from Bharata Muni, is present. Bahu varyate kalu yatra prachanna kamukatvam cha yacha mitaha durlabatha sa manmatasya paramaratihi. So here rati is there. Rati means love. Manmatasya rastigi, that means the love of Cupid, which is conjugal rasa or Madhurya Rasa. That Madhurya Rasa reaches its intensified state, parama, it is highest. When it is highest? When there are conditions which are given in the verse. When there is durlabhata mitaha, when the lover and the beloved try to meet with each other, it should be filled with obstacles. Rare. They are not able to meet each other frequently. Then their love is intensified between them. If they are often meeting, then familiarity breeds contempt. The love is not intensified. But when their meeting is riddled with obstacles, then the love is further intensified. Prachanna kamukatvam, second condition. Prachanna kamukatvam means that the love has to be kept secret by the lover and the beloved. They cannot reveal it openly. When that condition happens, then the love is further intensified. The third point is bahu varyate. It is sort of forbidden. For example, we see that in India, in some places, the parents forbid their kids to go and randomly love a person. And the children somehow are something, they fall into love with somebody and the parents don't like it. So they try to keep it secret. It's as if sort of forbidden. When it becomes like that, then the love gets intensified further and further. 3 conditions: when it is sort of forbidden, when it is hidden from others, when it is difficult for the lover and the beloved to meet. So now Krishna also tries to apply that in the love between the gopis and Krishna. So how does he do that? He does that via introducing this parakīya bhava or parama relationship. So what happens here is that we'll little bit detail, we'll talk about it in next few slides, but I'll just give an introduction. The gopis are married to somebody in Vraja Leela. Some gopis are not married, some gopis are married, but they are by their nature, because they are devotees of Krishna, by their the perfected devotees of Krishna, by their nature they have intense thirst for Krishna. Their thirst is natural. The fire of God's love is burning within them. Their love is natural toward Krishna. It's going toward Krishna. But externally, they look like they are married to some other gopas. So now the love cannot be, the gopis cannot go and explicitly meet Krishna because Krishna is not their husband. He is somebody else. They have their own family, they have their own husband. So the meeting becomes difficult. First condition. Second condition, they have to keep their love secret. They cannot keep it open. They have to keep it secret. Third one, this is sort of forbidden. It is not sort of, it is forbidden in dharmic society. In modern days, people live in relationships and illicit relationships and diverse. So many things are happening. May not be so much the dharmic value of husband and wife staying together is valued, but in the Vedic society, it is very much valued. Husband and wife should stay together. They shouldn't have illicit relationship externally. It is very much condemned. People not only just condemn the illicit affair, having an affair outside the marriage, but they will give punishment also for that. So that was the society. And Krishna's Leela also, that kind of Vedic society is only there. So in this society, some of the gopis are finding themselves that they have extreme love for Krishna. As soon as they hear the names of Krishna or see the form of Krishna in a picture or directly, or they hear the flute sound, their heart is running toward Krishna, which is natural. But externally, they are married to somebody else. So they have to keep it secret. It's a forbidden relationship. Meeting is not very much possible often. Then this love, this conjugal love becomes very much intensified between Krishna and the devotees. This is the setting that Krishna was presenting, preparing for his Leela to intensify the love between gopis and Krishna. This is all Leela. Now, what Jiva Goswami in this place in Gopala Champu, he mentioned is that the gopis having other husbands, other gopas as their husbands, is only an illusion that Krishna has created at one point. Krishna's Leela Shakti, Yoga Maya and Leela Shakti has created this illusion at one point. And then the illusion was continuing that when Krishna went to Mathura and Dwaraka, they were thinking they are married to somebody else, but still their attraction for Krishna in conjugal rasa was there, Madhurya Rasa. When Krishna comes back after killing Dantavakra, back to Vrindavan, Krishna is using his Shaktis, he breaks this illusion. Then all the gopis come to know, we are not married to other people. We were thinking we were married, but we are not married to other people. We are actually not married. And now our love for Krishna can go straight forward. We can go and marry Krishna because we are not married to somebody else. We were thinking we were married to Krishna. Then at the end of the Gopala Champu, toward the last, which I'm not sure whether we will reach soon. So whenever we reach that, at the end of the Gopala Champu, a marriage happens between Krishna and the gopis. So this is how Jiva Goswami writes. He writes the same concept, the same philosophy in 3 different works. Gopala Champu, this is what we are reading currently. He writes like that. He writes the same thing in his commentary on Ujjvala Nilamani, this work which we are discussing currently. He writes his commentary and he explains this philosophy. He also explains this philosophy in his magnum opus work, Sat Sandarbha, in Krishna Sandarbha. Krishna Sandarbha, he explains this concept. Now, this is Jiva Goswami explaining it. What he says, the gopis' love of identifying themselves as wives of others and their love with Krishna is paramorship, but then later this is broken and then they get remarried to Krishna. Eternally in the spiritual world, they are married to Krishna. There is no parakīya bhava there, or this paramourship relationship is not there. But when they come to the world, this world that is created between Krishna and the gopis. This is what Jiva Goswami writes in these three different works. Later, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, after 100 years or so, he comes and then he writes a little bit differently. He says that the parakīya bhava, the paramour relationship between gopis and Krishna, it is not temporary. It is not illusion. It is eternal. That the gopis eternally, even in the spiritual world, they think they are married to somebody else. And they are continue to have that relationship with Krishna. It is not somebody else. Okay. So it is not that they are married as Lakshmi and Narayana in the spiritual world. No, they are continuing to have that relationship, that they are thinking they are married to somebody else, but their attraction is toward Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this because he says nothing in the Lord's Leela is illusory. Everything is eternal. But Jiva Goswami writes like this, not in one work, he writes in three works. And toward the end of the Gopala Champu, he will actually sort of write it very intensely on this. So then, how does Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur encounter Jiva Goswami's writings? He writes two separate works on this, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Those two works are together translated into English by Bhanu Maharaj as defeating svakīya and defining parakīya. So there in that, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he takes all the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and then he tries to resolve it. The first of that is this Jiva Goswami's commentary. He writes on this particular verse in his commentary on Ujjvala Nilamani, first chapter, 21st verse. In the first chapter, 21st verse of Rupa Goswami on Ujjvala Nilamani, he writes a big commentary. In that big commentary, he again establishes the same thing, that the love, paramour love between the gopis and Krishna is illusion. At the end, when Krishna comes back after killing Dantavakra to Vraja, he actually breaks that illusion and then they get formally married to them, legally married to them. And after writing all these things, at the end, Jiva Goswami writes this one verse. This verse says, Swa ichchaya likitam kinchitatra para ichchaya yat purva apara sambaddham tat purvam aparam param. So he says, Swa ichchaya likitam kinchit. By my own will, swa ichcha, by my own will, I have written something. Kinchit likitam. Kinchit, something, atra para ichchaya, I have written because of others' will. Others forced me to write. Others' desire forced me to write. Yat purva apara sambandham. Whatever the previous statement and the next statement of Jiva Goswami is consistent. Tat purvam, that is my will, he says. And aparam param, whatever is inconsistent, that is somebody else's desire. He puts this puzzle at the end for Vishwanath Chakravarti to solve. People couldn't understand. They just, until Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comes and then, unpacks it, people were moving on. So why does Jiva Goswami write like this? That I have written something out of my own will and I have written something out of others' will. Why does he do that? That we will never come to know why he does that, because even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur doesn't comment on the intention of Jiva Goswami. We can only speculate. There are some people who say that when Jiva Goswami was writing all this parakīya bhava, the society was not ready to accept. So when they were establishing the sampradaya, because they are the founders of this Gaudiya sampradaya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he is the founder of the sampradaya, he did not write works. It is the Goswamis who are writing the works, and Jiva Goswami especially writing a lot of works. So they did not want to propose to the audience at that time, who were fully dharmically imbued, going and saying that Krishna had paramour relationship with the gopis and that is the highest love, they'll be like, what? You are just propagating adharma in the name of religion and you are all adharmic people. They may say like that. So, because the audience were not ready, Jiva Goswami sort of gave this another idea that the gopis are actually married to Krishna. The parakīya bhava is just an illusion, temporarily manifested in this world, and then it will disappear. That is what some people say, but we will never come to know what was the Jiva Goswami's intention to write. But however, he puts this puzzle for Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur to unpack, and he unpacks, and then he resolves. He shows in his book that what Jiva Goswami has written is consistent. He shows back and forward. See, this is consistent with Jiva Goswami. And then he shows, see, this is inconsistent. Therefore, this is somebody else's will. This is Jiva Goswami's will. In this way, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur cleanly unpacks. Now, this is the last point, and then we'll stop here. This question has to be addressed. Krishna's and Gopis' love, isn't this reproachable? You are saying this is a paramour love. Gopis are married to somebody and they are going and having an affair with Krishna. What is this? This looks very adharmic. Why does Krishna has to do all these things? Shukadeva Goswami, who was narrating the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, he narrates 9 cantos where he was establishing the godhood of Krishna in 9 cantos. That Krishna is Ishvara. He is God. He has control over everything. He establishes that. And in the 10th canto, he starts the Vraja pastimes of Krishna, which is in a sense the essence of entire Bhagavatam. And within that, he talks the Rasa Leela in 5 chapters, starting from chapter 29 until chapter 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 5 chapters. At the end of the 33rd chapter, after hearing the love of the gopis and Krishna, that the gopis are actually in paramour relationship with Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj asks a question. So we'll read that 27, 28, 29, 10th canto, 33rd chapter. So here, this is the Parikshit Maharaj question after hearing the entire Rasa Leela. So he asks this question. O Brahmana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, has descended to this earth along with his plenary portion to destroy irreligion and re-establish religious principles. Indeed, he is the original speaker, follower, and guardian of moral laws. How then could he have violated them by touching other men's wives? Question he is asking that, Krishna came to establish religion, religious principles, and destroy irreligion. And illicit relationship outside the marriage is irreligion. Then how can he go and touch someone else's wife? That looks completely contradictory to Krishna's purpose. He continues to say, O faithful upholder of vows, please destroy our doubt by explaining to us what purpose the self-satisfied Lord of the Yadus had in mind when he behaved so contemptibly. The word he uses in Sanskrit is jugupshitam. Jugupshitam means it's disgusting. So it looks disgusting. Why he does like that? Parikshit Maharaj is a great devotee of Krishna. He internally knew that Krishna is performing this for the Leela. Because all are Jivatma and Krishna is Paramatma. And Jivatma and Paramatma relationship is natural. There is no illicit affair here. Everything is a natural affair. In this world, if a person gets married to somebody else and then has an affair with somebody else, that is illicit affair. That is condemnable. But with the Lord, even though the setting looks like they are having an illicit affair, it is not. It is a natural affair. It is only created for the sake of intensifying the love between the gopis and Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj knows that internally, our acharyas will comment on that like that. But because there are so many sages sitting in that assembly of Bhagavatam, for everyone's sake, he is asking this question. Then Shukadeva Goswami is answering this question. Dharma vyatikramaha drishtaha ishwaranam cha sagasam tejiyasam na doshaya vaknehe sarvabhujaha yatha. So, dharma vyatikramaha, this transgression of religious principles that you are seeing in Ishvara, those who are the controllers, like Ishvara, like Shiva or Krishna, or Sahasa, those who have a lot of extreme powers, and this is with they are very full of tejas, spiritually potent. Na doshaya, there is no fault in them because they are beyond the rules and regulations of this entire world. They created these rules and regulations for people to become purified, people to have purify their intentions, come out of the three modes of material nature and attain Krishna. Krishna doesn't need to do that. He is not under the dharmic principles. He is doing only these things to purify people. Just as he gives the example, Vahnehe sarva bhujakayata, whatever you throw into the Agni, that gets burnt. Agni doesn't get impure. Agni doesn't get contaminated. Rather, Agni purifies everything else. Like that, whatever the Ishwaras are doing, Krishna, that is never contaminated. We cannot ever think that he is doing illicit affairs. It is not logical. Not only that, in verse 39, he says, this love purifies. Let's go into verse 39. विक्रीडितं व्रजवधूभिः इदं च विष्णो श्रद्धान्वितोऽनुशृणुयात् अथ वर्णयेत् यः भक्तिं परां भगवती प्रतिलभ्य कामं हृद्रोगम् आशु अपहिनोति अचिरेण धीरः. So this same chapter, after describing the Rasa Leela, the love between the gopis and Krishna, he says, anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavana will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Thus, he will quickly become sober and conquer lust, the disease of the heart. So here he says, this Vikriditam Vrajavadubihi, he is playing with the gopis of Vrindavan. That whoever is hearing with faith, they will attain bhakti, parabhakti toward the Lord. Not only that, the kama, the hrut roga, the disease of the heart, which is lust, that will also get removed. So this pastime between Krishna and the gopis, it purifies others. So it is beyond contamination. If it is contaminated, it cannot purify others. It is beyond contamination. Therefore, it is able to even purify others. And this love is also praised. There are other things. We'll just look at one of these verses in the interest of time. 10:47:58. Let's look at 10:47:58. Uddhava, this Uddhava is speaking. Among all persons on earth, these cowherd women alone have actually perfected their embodied lives, for they have achieved the perfection of unalloyed love for Lord Govinda. Their pure love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well. For one who has tasted the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmana or even as Lord Brahma himself? So he says that the love between the gopis and Krishna is so unalloyed that it purifies you from the material existence. And all the sages, including Uddhava himself, are hankering after this. That much it is pure. And I have given other things for references. So we'll stop here. Thank you, devotees. If you have any questions, reflections, comment, you can ask. No worries, Prabhuji. Srivas Pandit Prabhu has mentioned. I didn't hear any noise. Thank you. Thank you, Srivas Pandit Prabhu, for joining, blessing me. Thank you, Shankaranand Prabhu and Sundaranand Prabhu for joining. Radhaguna Mataji. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Jandamas Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhu. Excellent. Your explanations are so sweet and it really touching our hearts. So thank you so much for taking time and going through everything, preparing and sharing the bliss with us. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Now, I understood whatever you have said, very, very detailed explanations and about the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and also Vishwanath Chakravartī Thakur's, how the everything I understood. The only thing is I have a question. Actually, initially I had so many questions, but you yourself answered all the questions by the end of your lecture. So I was so happy for that. But one question is just Krishna's expression of love in performing pastimes is for himself or for his devotees?
Okay.
For both.
Yeah. So Krishna is performing this leelas. It's for both. So as previously we discussed in the first session, that Krishna has this Hladini Shakti. And then he takes a portion of that Hladini Shakti and then he gives it to the Jivas. And the Jivas have this Hladini Shakti. So just like Jiva Goswami gives the example that a father has a lot of wealth and then he takes some portion of his wealth and then gives as a gift to his children. And then the children using that wealth, they come back and buy some gift and then give to the dad. The dad becomes so happy. It's not that dad was not having money. He had so much money, so much wealth. But whatever money he has given to the children, and then when they come back and give that to him back, he feels very happy than previously he had the money, everything with himself. So similarly, when the Lord gives this bliss potency, Hladini Shakti, some part of Hladini Shakti to the perfected Jivas, and then the perfected Jivas are sharing back with Krishna, he feels blissful. And then he shares back his Hladini Shakti with the Jivas, and then they share. So this exchange is continuously going on. How this exchange happens? By these Leelas. So when Yashoda becomes fearful when Krishna was taken away by Putana, that fear is an expression of that Hladini Shakti. Krishna becomes satisfied. And then Krishna is looking forward for mother. He becomes satisfied. Or Yashoda taking stick and running behind Krishna. That is an expression of that Hladini Shakti. Krishna becomes satisfied by that Hladini Shakti. And then he shares it back by showing fear. He's not faking it. He's really showing fear. That fear is coming out of his Hladini Shakti. In this way, the Hladini Shakti is exchanged between the devotees and the Lord, and then their bliss is further and further and further intensified. The Leelas are making the bliss of the devotees and the Lord intensify further and further. Hope this helps.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I really understand. One request is, Prabhuji, you don't need to be hurry in your explanations, like, time, management, and even if it's take little more time, please do it, in your own way and aram se, I mean, take your time, please. No, we don't mind, even if you take little bit more time, we are okay with that because, we want to hear more and more from you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Satya Sankalpa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, this was such an enlightening class. Yeah, I really like that point on Atmaram, the definition of Atmaram. My question was actually similar to what Mataji raised, but like a follow-up is that is the same principle applied to jivas as well? Because jivas are like, at least like the Bhakti, I think Mahaprabhu also mentioned like Bhakti yogas are also called Atmarama in one way. As in like they're satisfied in their service to the Lord. So when they are serving Krishna, is it like again for their own bliss, or is it the same principle what you just explained?
Yeah. So they are Atma Rama in the sense that they are not looking for anything outside of them. When the Jiva is perfected, there is some part of Hladini Shakti gets given to the Jiva by the Lord. So when that Hladini Shakti is there, they become completely satisfied. For the people in the Jnana path, when they perfect, they don't get Hladini Shakti. They are just as Atma, they continue to exist in the Brahman. But there is little bit Brahmananda within themselves is there. The Atma itself has some Ananda within it. That Ananda is completely much more than what you can encounter in this entire world. The Upanishads speak that, Taittiriya Upanishad speaks that words cannot describe that bliss of Brahman. So that much it is high. But that Brahmananda, as Rupa Goswami will point out, is like a calf's hoof print water, or like a small bucket of water, compared to the ocean of bliss that is derived by this Hladini Shakti given by the Lord into the Jiva. That is much more. So both of these people are Atma Ramas because they are not seeking anything in the material world. Though they are Atma Ramas, though the devotee is also an Atma Rama, his Atma is himself, but he has another Atma who is Krishna. He is the Atma of Atma. He is the Atma of every Jiva. So he is even more important than his own Atma because he is the Atma of Atma. That should become even more important. So for them, Krishna becomes more important. And now in this world, we are trying to satisfy ourselves. I get married because I want to satisfy myself. Self becomes very important. But the self of self for the devotees becomes very, very, very important. Actually, for everyone, it is important. We are not realizing it. But when we realize it, we become like, we want to satisfy the self of the self, which is Krishna. So naturally, all our endeavor will be to satisfy Krishna in the perfected state. In the sadhana stage, we have to cultivate that. We have to cultivate, we have to practice that we want to do to satisfy Krishna. I am chanting my holy name because it pleases Krishna. I want to please him. I'm reading or I'm listening. All these things are activities are pleasing to Krishna. I am doing that. We may get attracted to these activities. I like chanting, just sit and chant is so nice. That is good. We are developing a positive samskara toward the chanting. But the idea is we are trying to satisfy Krishna in this endeavor. Here we are cultivating in the sadhana stage. In the perfected state, it naturally happens. If the gopis, they are not looking to derive some happiness from Krishna, though the happiness is exchanged, that's a byproduct, but their main endeavor is to satisfy Krishna, please Krishna. Similarly, Krishna also behaves that way. He endeavors to satisfy all his devotees.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, thank you, devotees, for joining. We will stop here. We're already close to the time. Srivas Pandit Prabhu, Sundarananda Prabhu, Shankaran Prabhu, want to add anything?
No, well, thank you very much, Varjivan Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Excellent class, Prabhu. Please keep it up.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we'll stop here, devotees. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhya eva cha patitana pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantamo Vishnu ki jai. Gopāla ki jai.
Thank you, Varjivan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.